Space nerds, Roadmap Roundup is out. It's not a huge one. We know a lot of what's coming in 4.1, but I've gotten to play a little bit of it, see the big mining laser, check out the Hathor areas, the mission giver, the new weapon. I thought we could go over some of the footage, I could give you some insights, and we can look at what's coming near and long term. Welcome to the latest Star Citizen news. First off, the things we already know, 4.0 has been listed as released for the supplier die event. This is because it's in 4.0.2, but they're gonna always put it in the 4. This is about the roadmap columns. This all goes in the column. 4.1, new mission giver Wikello. He's a Banu, which is interesting because he's the first alien in the game. Now, I haven't actually seen him in person, though there is a hidden room that hasn't really been opened to us yet that has a bunch of collectibles and things that he has collected. It's supposed to reminisce of the collector from the Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess. But he's not in there yet. So we just get a call from him. He talks to us in a very normal accent, and he gives you collection missions. Now, this has been committed to 4.1, and it's important for two big reasons. First, this is the first mission giver we've gotten since 2019, I think. Tisha Pacheco was added in ArcCorp before CIG realized these things weren't working. AI didn't work well enough for them to add mission givers. So the fact that they're adding a mission giver now and are talking about updating the other ones means that server meshing has helped them get AI into a good enough place where we can start to get some actual narrative missions handed out by real-ish beings. The other reason this is a big deal is because narrative just takes a big step forward when they start introducing aliens into the game. I mean, for a lot of people, that actually changes things quite a bit. Having aliens in a sci-fi game adds some level of mystery and differentness to what we already know. He also seems to be included in some crafting and upgrading, as when he tells you to bring him something back, he tells you he wants to give you like some kind of a special thing or maybe upgrade something for you. So I think they are going to build this into future gameplay. And that goes to our next point, the place where he is, the Emporium itself. This is the dedicated home for Wikello's missions, and I think there are 3 maybe throughout the Stanton system. And these are basically key drop-off points for important little artifacts that will persist forever. So at any point, the devs can just make new missions and contracts that require you to turn in certain things at these locations. And that's pretty good for exploration. It's just a narrative-driven exploration loop that they can continuously update as they need to. Throwback also to the Wandering Traveler or Trader or something like that was on the roadmap like 3 or 4 years ago. I do think this has something to do with that. But ultimately, having these places where you can host a scavenger hunt for anything that gets added into the game is going to get pretty interesting as they start getting more creative and get more assets in. The Volt AR Parallax Rifle has finally been added in, and I did find it. You can find the gameplay over on Space Tomato Plays, where I got to shoot it up a bunch and then I lost it. But it was fun while it lasted. It's a pretty cool gun. It feels good to fire. It looks cool to fire. It's a little low on TTK, I think, and that might be because you have to get it up to be a beam to get the most damage out of it. It just takes a while. So I think maybe having larger magazines or maybe making the firing turn into a beam faster would make it work better. But here's some gameplay of it. Oh, it actually sounds really cool too. The Hathor Grind. Oh, this thing's freaking stop. The Hathor ground alignment stations are the areas in which I found the Volt Parallax Rifle. In fact, go watch the gameplay and it will show you how to find them. This is a pretty cool area though. These are 3 different stations all on the ground surrounding a laser in orbit, and you can go to each of these stations. They have multiple buildings. Each building has locked off compartments that you have to find key cards and other places to unlock, tons of loot boxes, plenty of enemies to kill. And there's a crime stat system because we're in Stanton, so you can kind of know that players are a little more accountable, but everybody's still going to shoot you. I definitely died. But it is a really good time. I think this is probably going to be one of the more interesting places to play Star Citizen over the next couple months, because even if you're not doing the big event that requires the ground laser and all these things going on, there's still a lot going on in the area. There are plenty of pirates to attack. There's a lot of loot to find. Obviously, I found the Volt Parallax weapons there, so there's reason to go there just to explore. Ultimately, I think it's good that they're adding these differentiating locations, especially because this is only on 2 moons in the star system. So it's not like they're just adding everything willy-nilly to every location. They're starting to differentiate locations to guide people to wherever they want to be for whatever gameplay they want. So maybe if you're a little more dangerous, you know where to go. If you're a little safer, you can stay away. Finally, then there's the Hathor mining station. I haven't visited this yet, but this is the final part of the sandbox event they've created, and it ends with you firing the laser into the ground. We still don't really know what that does. Probably gonna have something to do with the Valakar. But as of right now, we're still waiting. You can just see the laser firing for a long time if anybody fires it in your server, and it doesn't really go anywhere for a while. I saw it for at least an hour or two, so there's still some work that needs to be done there. Maybe it doesn't come in the first 4.1 update, we don't really know, but it does seem like whatever comes in the first 4.1 update will probably lead to something else happening in 4.1.1. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, on to Star Citizen 1.0. So that was just the stuff coming next month, or in the next couple months. Here's the stuff that is coming in some undisclosed amount of time. Star Citizen 1.0, once again, is not the stuff coming in the 1.0 update. It's the stuff that they need in for 1.0. Case in point, control surfaces. First thing added. This is going to be improving atmospheric flight dynamics with functional control surfaces, allowing for more precise maneuvering and realistic aerodynamics. A general update to the flight model. There's more to the flight model than master modes. This is just another part of it. This is atmospheric flight. Now, I covered heat and hover mode and all these things in multiple videos throughout the years. And really, this is where it all comes together. Ships are going to start to depend on their aerodynamics. So if you have a ship that looks like a plane, you're in luck. If you have a ship that looks like a caterpillar, you better keep your thrusters happy. So basically, control surfaces are going to dictate that the flaps, the aerodynamics, the ailerons, whatever is on your ship is going to dictate how you can fly in atmosphere. If you slow down too much that you can't create the lift, or if you are flying at an angle in which you can't create lift, if you're stalling, your thrusters are going to take over. And when your thrusters take over, they'll start to build up heat. This is where the engineering system comes in. So the idea is ships with VTOL engines are going to be able to hover and persist in atmosphere a lot more easily than ships that don't. This is again emphasizing what ship you want to pick for your profession. If you're somebody who likes to go in atmosphere, getting a ship with VTOL engines is really going to help. If you're not, then you don't really have to worry about it. It's not to make it more complicated for you if you don't want it. It's to reward the people who do. And you'll see this a lot throughout the game. A lot of people don't like it. I think this is going to be pretty interesting, and it's also going to make flight a little bit deeper in the atmosphere. Quantum travel is also getting an update, and this is on the 1.0 roadmap. We've been waiting for this one a while, and we've seen plenty of versions of it. Now, the biggest thing that's coming to the quantum travel update is that it's fully physicalized, including quantum boosting, which is going to be used for faster short-range travel. Fully physicalized quantum travel could mean that we can't go through asteroid fields anymore. A couple of monthly reports throughout the last couple of years have mentioned quantum travel obstacles. And we also know that the Air and Halo belt is supposed to have gateways manned by ArcCorp that allow people to travel through the belt without being encumbered by asteroids. Now, this could mean that you can't just quantum travel through an asteroid belt, planetary or system-wide. For the systems, we would have the gates, like I mentioned, but you also could probably quantum boost up and then quantum travel over the belt. Now, I think this could also be really cool because this would create back alleys and common pirate smuggling routes, and it would create some level of danger or maybe savings you could make if you don't have to pay the tax to ArcCorp to go through the belt. But I'm getting way into speculation zone here. Just know that the quantum travel update is about physicalizing the travel. This wouldn't be possible without object container streaming or server meshing because we're loading everything as we travel through the system rather than when we get there. So there's no loading screens or like segments that you have to go through. You can just physically be anywhere in the system as you travel through it. Ultimately, this update will also come with the very cool effects that we've seen, and probably it's going to fix a lot of the problems we have with quantum travel right now because that system just doesn't work very well. Finally, we have realistic audio mode, which is basically making you have realistic audio. You can just listen to it here. So what you heard in that clip was the sound system we already know, where the ship takes everything into account happening around you and replicates that sound to your character so that you hear the sounds that would not normally exist in a vacuum. That is how it's supposed to work when your ship and suits are working. The idea I think they're going to go with is that you can take damage and that will go away. This is kind of similar to how Elite Dangerous does their canopy, and it could be a really immersive experience. But I'm also wondering if maybe they will say this is something you can just turn off if you'd like. Maybe certain helmets won't support that unrealistic sound setting, so you might have to get like an attachment or a blade or some kind of addition to make sure you can get the actual sound that we all are used to. I don't know, again, they can play with the audio, they can specialize equipment, they can give us certain things that allow audio to be enhanced or dehanced based on buffs or nerfs, and this is all just adding into the ability for them to make the game more varied. This is also the kind of stuff they've talked about for a long time, so it's nice to see them working on it, but I understand why some people might not be too interested. Things are getting more interesting, definitely, now that we have a major patch coming in with 4.1. We'll see where they go from there. This supplier die and stuff going on in Pyro will continue. They're just also sharing that development with Stanton. So even if something comes in one update in one system, it doesn't mean they're just leaving another one behind. I saw some people saying that they weren't going to do anything on Stanton anymore. They're going to keep adding into both, and we will see how it progresses. This is a separate set of things. Wikello, Hathor, this isn't that A and B story they were talking about with narrative. So we can easily see multiple branches of stories, of missions, and contracts coming into the game, even if they're working on a central narrative. Remember, they got to build out all those guilds, they got to add these factions, they need to update the mission givers, and we did see some leak, plug your ears if you don't want to leak, that Tessa Bannister might be making a return. Ultimately, that was the Roadmap Roundup of March 12th, 2025. It's just preparing us for 4.1. I hope you've been enjoying these shorter kind of videos with me and my face and stuff. I want to keep doing these. Right now we're doing them about once per week, but if news permits and things get more exciting, I'd like to do them a little bit more often. The tomato talks will still be coming. Those are on the way, just getting back up to speed. Also, make sure to check out Space Tomato 2 and Space Tomato Plays. Those are the other two channels. They're linked on this main channel. And that's where you can see some of this actual gameplay and some more deep discussion in the podcasts about these features. Either way, thanks for checking out this news drop. I'll see you in the next.